Widespread youth-led protests in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal over corruption, governance failures, and economic hardship have toppled long-standing regimes, reflecting shared regional and global crises. Over the last 3 years, India's neighboring countries Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal have witnessed widespread mass protests that led to the fall of long-standing governments. These movements, largely driven by youth mobilization and deep-seated frustrations over corruption, governance failures, and economic hardships, mark a significant wave of political upheaval across South Asia. Sri Lanka plunged into its worst economic crisis in decades in 2022. Plummeting foreign reserves, soaring inflation, and severe shortages of essentials like fuel, food, and medicine sparked public outrage. This culminated in the Aragalaya struggle movement, where tens of thousands of citizens took to the streets demanding political change. Protesters occupied Colombo's key areas, stormed government offices, and even entered the presidential palace. Amid mounting pressure, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled the country in July 2022, ending the Rajapaksa family's long-standing political demise. Although emergency talks with the International Monetary Fund (IMF) helped stabilize Sri Lanka's economy, widespread distrust in the political establishment persists. The crisis highlighted the consequences of governance neglect, economic mismanagement, and elite privilege, fueling ongoing public demand for reforms. In July 2024, Bangladesh faced a sudden wave of protests initially sparked by controversies over government job quotas favoring descendants of freedom fighters. Students spearheaded the demonstrations, which quickly expanded into a broader anti-corruption and anti-authoritarian movement. Clashes between protesters and security forces paralyzed major cities, with casualties reported on both sides. Under intense pressure, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled to India in August 2024. An interim government, led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, took charge with a mandate to restore order and prepare for elections. This uprising exposed deep dissatisfaction among youth who felt marginalized by entrenched political elites and ignored demands for greater fairness and transparency in governance. In September 2025, Nepal experienced mass protests after the government imposed a ban on major social media platforms, requiring them to register locally. The move was perceived as a severe attack on freedom of expression, galvanizing the country's youth, especially Gen Z, to take to the streets. What began as a digital rights protest soon merged with widespread anger over corruption, unemployment, and poor governance. Violent clashes left at least 19 dead and hundreds injured. Despite the government lifting the ban and some ministerial resignations, unrest continued until Prime Minister KP Sharma Ali resigned under immense public and political pressure. Across these nations, several factors consistently fueled unrest: economic shocks and political instability in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal stemmed from global post-pandemic trade shifts, rising protectionism, and internal mismanagement, worsening unemployment and